Hello everyone, my name is Jordan and welcome to Daily Info. And I will bring you some actual content this video because I have not done so as of yet. Okay. So I decided what we're going to discuss today. And this does not have to apply, but it's just general information that you can go off of just in case you're wondering what to do with your spirituality or whatever you're doing with. Altar work. Now, for me, I'm very good at making altars, and altars are something that you could use for several purposes. We would go into that here. A type of craft, which I would beware of when you're first starting out your craft, is conjuring any form of thing, anything. I suggest you start working on book and candle magic or petitions and circles. I wouldn't even start working with love spells or any of that. I wouldn't start casting anything when you start either. Mostly do for yourself. Invocation and evocation. Invocation is different from evocation because invocation is used in rites or in a particular way to invoke a certain deity or a demon or angel or and there's particular ways. It's kind of like the difference between being Wicca and doing witchcraft, because Wiccas have guidelines, and witchcraft you don't necessarily have to have a guideline. And it's kind of like evocation, invocation. Invocations have guidelines, and evocations kind of don't. They can, but they don't have to. And the difference between that is because in evocations, you could just go out in the woods and just say something out loud to the trees. I mean, you know, petitions are a little bit different. There's different types of petitions for what you are into in particular. For instance, you could draw a star on a piece of paper and then fill up the paper with words and then burn the paper after you say everything on it, or kind of fold it towards you or fold it away from you depending on what you want. If you want to fold it, you can burn it, bury it, sink it in water. You know, speaking of that, you know, you can have moon water. You can have cauldrons filled with water. You can have all types of shit. Water's a good thing, and that goes into elements. Because there's a lot of misconceptions on the directions coordinating with the elements. And the misconceptions are that it's not, personally, it's not correct how they put it. Air is north, east is fire, west is water, and south is earth. Then you have stars. So if you put a circle, if you're doing some form of a circle, and you do a triangle in the circle, that is a 3-pointed star. A square would be a 4-pointed star. Then you have 5-pointed stars. Just like the triangle, you can put that up or down. And you can put whatever you want in it. This goes into sigil work. And then you have 6-point stars, which are really, you can't really turn that because it is up and down. 7-point stars, you go all the way up to 13. I don't recommend doing anything after 13. But you can mix and match it whichever direction you want it to point, and it'll mean different things. And with that said, so it's probably best that the first when you want to start doing any of that is book and candle magic. You want to have some form of a candle, and you want to have a book. And you just want to lay the candle on the book or on whatever you have there, whether it be a 7-point star or whatever. And then you have circles. You don't have to use circles, but circles, you can use double circles. You can encase something in 2 circles. But there's different types. You can make some out of salt. But I suggest if that you don't have anywhere in nature to go, you do book and candle magic and you draw the circles. But if you have somewhere to go, I mean, I don't know, you can, it isn't up to me what you do. You can put, I mean, salt around your house and stuff on your window sills or whatever, or make big salt circles in your floor. But, you know, you go out there, you find a big oak tree, you know, you clear out everything and you and you dig a circle around the oak tree and fill it up with salt. So you have a literal salt circle that you can go and do, and offerings too. A lot of these things I'm going to be discussing can be put on an altar. With that said, you know, if with deity can be anything. It can be the universe. Goshea is really interesting because Goshea talks about the 72 supposed earth spirits that are combined with heavenly spirits, and these made the Goshaic deities. And there's 72. They're also called genies or jinn. You know, you rub the bottle, comes out, grant your wish type thing. But you have to read up on certain deities, because some deities don't work well with others. And other deities, if you call this one deity, like for instance, my favorite's Amon. And if I was to call Amon and then try to call another spirit after I had called Amon, it would be offensive to Amon. So if you have a deity, you know, it could be something you look up to. It can be Christ, it can be Allah, it could be anything. Those are technically deities. And Kabbalah is God's anatomy. A lot of my candle magic was with Kabbalah. I take a big poster board and draw the tree of life with the circles and the lines and everything, and the names and stuff in Hebrew, and did the whole poster board of a tree of life, and then did candles on that. And I would move them according to the way my mind was working. I'd be here, and then I'd be like, okay, I need to move it here, kind of thing. And on a far another subject, because you have to be real open-minded when it comes to spirituality. If you want to be truly a spiritual person, not really a religious person. Religion just means to captivate someone. That is the definition of religion. It means to captivate or to limit someone's thinking, and you really don't want to do that. Necromancy. A lot of times necromancy is used to conjure the dead, so-and-so, to predict the future. Which, however you work it, I mean, if you want to reanimate a dead corpse, I mean, be my guest, but you got to be smart, because we live in a world that's foolish, and a lot of people will take this thing the wrong way. And with that said, future reading and whatnot, you have divination, tarot cards, scrying, like in mirrors or in water, crystal balls. How you read a crystal ball is you look in the cracks, the crystal ball. How you do it with water, you would set the water in front of you and you look off the reflection of a candle or whatnot. You can also do scrying in flames too. There's so many subjects here. Herbs. I cannot do this without mentioning plants. Many plants have different purposes. You can use it for herb bags, like get a satchel or sachet and you put herbs in it with like a petition or some sort. And with that, you know, you got hoodoo. And hoodoo is not voodoo, and voodoo is not hoodoo. Just like Wiccans practice witchcraft, voodoo people practice hoodoo. And it's a lot of bit different. You can study up on it if you want to. Grimoires, in Wicca, they call that a book of shadows. And that's just if, as a practitioner, whoever you are, you can be anybody practicing anything. Most find it helpful in the craft to write down their experiences, what the reactions were, etc., etc. different spells. I mean, you can use the book for a spell book. You can do anything with the grimoire. It's just your personal documentation on what you do, I guess. You can have sigils, which is mostly how you would initiate something. It's kind of like runes. People use runes for, Nordic runes or Norse runes for different things. Like one can be wealth or whatever. And sigils can kind of be the same thing. You can also use sigils for conjuring. Then you have anthropomorphism, or sometimes the old term is shamanism, or mediumship. A lot of that is the person is can change their physical flesh into something. Like you can grow talons for hands or something. And familiars. Familiars are your spiritual guides. A lot of Native Americans believed in familiars. And then you have crystals. I can't forget crystals. Different stones have different things. Like a moonstone would be your wishing stone. A rhodonite or rose stone would be your very passionate stone. You could put crystals in with your magic. You can crystal grids. Depends what you like. Fae. Fae are elves or fairies or gnomes or goblins or leprechauns or the old fae. There's numerous amounts of fae and there's numerous amount of druid, and it goes hand in hand because both of them believe in nature, except druid's more of the wizard and fae is more of the creature. The thing about Kabbalah, though, speaking of that, is that the creature will become more like the creator. So the creator is selfless, and the creature is supposed to be selfish. So when the creature who's selfish becomes more selfless, that's the whole point of Kabbalah. Supposedly, Malkuth is our world's below Malkuth, and Malkuth is the gate between heaven and our world. It's also known in actual Kabbalah as being the feminine part of God. Let me see here. Yeah, I think that covers it. It depends what you like. If you are on a spiritual path, it can be Christianity. You can be a fucking Cthulhuist. You can believe that, hey, I'm going to be granted immortality and then I'm going to destroy the whole world. I mean, whatever. Or you could be a Christian, support. I mean, you could be really a really simple-minded person or a really ignorant person. Because a lot of these subjects are deemed as quote-unquote devil worship. A devil just means a liar. A demon is not a devil, and a devil is not a demon. Do your homework, man. Do your homework. Make sure you study. Make sure you get a lot of knowledge, and at the same time, try to be dumb like me. So you could be really dumb, but you could be super wise and you're dumb. So a Christian comes at you or whoever, oh, you're going to, and be like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll rule there too, kind of thing. Let's see here. You could study up on different things. If you have a computer, this might help you. In Wicca in particular, we have all these different tools. You have an altar, which is the place of your practice, usually in a home. It can be out in the woods too. You can make altars out in the wilderness. A paten is known as a pentacle or a 5-point star. But the paten is also known as a pentagram because it is a circle. But sometimes people differentiate it as a pentacle is up and pentagram is down. Or vice versa. It's all the same thing. It's a 5-pointed star. It's used to enchant and whatnot. I was in a Wicca coven for 5 years, so my leader passed away and the whole coven split apart, so I kind of know a little bit about it. A circle marked with a cord, which is called a pendulum. A pendulum is a 9-foot cord used in Wicca. It can be marked with whatever you want, a drawing marked in the ground, or salt, or a pendulum. A book of shadows, which is your guide. So you keep it from the very beginning. So years down in this path, you look back and you see the very first spell you've ever done. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't Wiccan when I did my first spell, and I still remember what it was. So always remember your first spell you ever do. Make sure it's on yourself. Also make sure you don't put a spell on somebody else, your first spell, and you don't conjure anything until you get accustomed to how the magical world works. You have a wand. Usually they're handmade. You go find a wand, you go find your wand out in the woods. And go with different types of trees, which is also druid. Druids are about trees, you know. The druid alphabet is the tree alphabet, believe it or not. You have a chalice, which is also known as a goblet. And most of these in Wicca, usually they have the god and goddess, which I'll get into. An athame. It's your personal knife. It's usually a black-handled knife. You know, I found this little flip knife at a really closed-off store, and I use that for my athame, and you bless it and everything. You do what the fuck you want. As long as you don't hurt nobody, that's the main thing. They have the Wiccan reed. As long as you don't hurt nobody, man, do what the fuck you want with that knife. Just don't kill people, man. That's not good. A censer. A censer is a incense pot. You smoke your house with it. You know, you can also have your little pot, little silver or golden pot with incense, smoke coming out, and you feather your house. A scourge. A scourge is a whip or a flog. It's not just a whip, but it's a whip with many ends. And I've been scourged in the coven before because I accidentally brought up something in public wasn't supposed to bring up, according to the craft. You're not supposed to bring anything up if you're in a coven or in a druid. I forget what they call it in the druid thing. But druids are different. They have bards, ovates, and druids. Druid is not just a druid. You have ovates and bards too. They wear different types of clothing and whatnot. But yeah, don't discuss your craft with other people. You can't be a vampire and be like, hey, I'm a vampire. Because then next thing you know, they'll kidnap you from a house or come at you with pitchforks and torches to try to kill you. Anyways, a whip or a flog, it's used to punish those in the it's like correction. We want to correct your ass or something. I don't know. A pendulum, I discussed that. It's a 9-foot cord. A besom or a broom in the witchy west. A big stick with twigs tied on it. Right? A cauldron. Cauldrons, there's so many different things. It's usually a feminine thing, and the knives are usually masculine. But it usually represents the womb of the deity or the goddess, or in what way. And then, of course, you have rings, necklaces, bracelets. You have a staff or a cane. You have oils, candles. Usually you have a bowl of salt, bowl of moon water, or not bowl of moon water. You can have a moon bowl, but bowl of salt and a bowl of water. You have a bell. Most queens in the olden days would ring their bell for service, so you kind of do that in the magical world when you're doing like a rite or whatever. It's kind of like bringing the attention to your rite, saying, hey, shush, I need this attention. Chimes. I notice, me personally, wind chimes are so awesome. I hang them in my house. I'm not in my own house, but when I had my apartment, I had wind chimes and beads and dream catchers everywhere. And I had like 3 altars in my house. And that goes to dream catchers, invented dream catchers, you know. Altar cloth. You can decorate your altar. You can put like a towel. You can cut a red towel or whatever you want. You can paint it. You can crystal ball. animal or crystal skulls. If you find a coyote skull, like I did a long time ago, and paint it and put it on a chain, and you could put that on your altar. Flowers, wine and bread. And you can even make holy water, man. You learn how to make holy water. Let me see here. The thing is, guys, as you should know, you should always watch what you do, what you say. Because in the end, if you have somebody who says they're, quote, Christian, and yet they're not Christian, I'm not downing Christians, but they might, try to kill you because you happen to, oh yeah, I acknowledge that Jesus Christ was real, but, I'm going to use him in my actual craft. Oh, you have that altar and stuff at church. Well, watch what I can do. It goes along with their form of the church. A church is just a communion between two people. My coven leader, when I was in Wicca, was a archbishop of the Catholic Church. And he wears robes and go to Catholic church and preach or stand by or whatever he did there. I never went to a Catholic church at one time. And then he'd come home and say, all right, Jordan, let's go work on the altar. Oh, hell. Every star you can think of. Every direction, all the rights, the circles, you face the north and you face the everything. I sat in the middle of a pendulum is a 9-foot cord. Put that in diameter. The circle was 9 feet across in the middle. I was in a 5-pointed star, and it was just for me, of a huge pentacle or pentagram. And I did my personal rites with a archbishop of the Catholic Church. And I cannot tell you how much I have suffered over just trying to be myself. I play music. You know what I'm saying? I play tongue drum and guitar and flute and keyboard. Just trying to be yourself is a lot harder. Especially when you have occult or secret. Occult just means secret. Knowledge. Underlying knowledge. Not many people know about. Anyway. Experience your life. Do some study. Do some homework. And make sure you proceed to do what you want to do. As long as you do not hurt yourself. As long as you do not hurt someone else. There's often a subject about sacrificing animals. You can do that. Just don't get caught. I have not sacrificed an animal. Except for maybe a frog one time. But that was just because I was a little kid. You know what I'm saying? But regardless, whatever you do, be safe and be smart about it. And don't run your mouth over it because you could get hurt. You could get in trouble. You could have people who have, quote, the upper hand on your life, who supposedly have power over you, which won't in the future, by the way, try to kill you, try to ruin you, because they are so ignorant of their the way they are. Anyways, you guys, if you're interested in studying anything, I'm sure this video will get around someday, and I'll be able to have views and whatnot, subscribers, because I have no subscribers and like 3 views on the last video. But when it gets around, when you guys want to know anything that I've discussed today, any subject that I have mentioned today, please comment, and then I will go in depth. And maybe the differences in between certain terms and whatnot, terminology and whatnot, just to help you on your personal practice in being a better person. My name is Jordan. This was Daily Info. Have a good night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning, so see you guys.